Let me tell you who we're going to here at the News Radio 1029 KRN Newsmaker line. Jeremiah Stark is an independent videographer who last night Facebook Live videotaped the entire march of Mayor Frank Scott Jr. from the Capitol down Capitol Avenue 10 blocks towards downtown. He's got the whole thing. I shared it on my Facebook page. And it was quite remarkable because a number of different reporters from TV stations to the Democrat Gazette were also there and also have reported on it. As a matter of fact, one of the reporters of the Democrat Gazette got beat up pretty badly. But Jeremiah Stark, who does not have a news director or an editor to report to, I think had kind of a different angle, kind of a different context, a different take on what happened last night. Mr. Stark, I appreciate you joining us on the program. How are you, sir?
Great, man. Great to be here. It's an honor, and listen to you every day, Doc. I'm trying to do what mainstream media doesn't seem to want to, and that's tell the truth.
Okay, so when did you start videotaping Mayor Frank Scott Jr.'s walk last night, when he started to leave the Capitol heading downtown?
Yes, sir. He actually wasn't there until he did the march. Black SUV pulled up. 3 guys got out with, bulletproof vests, and they went directly to the 2 girls that organized the march. He put vests on them, and at that point is when they let Scott out of the vehicle. He walked straight to the girls, went arm in arm, reminisced exactly of MLK March in Birmingham, and just started walking and never said a word. And when I say walking, this dude was trucking. They were going fast. Like it was hard for me to keep up running in front of them.
So what time was it, like 9:30?
Yes, sir. It was just before curfew. It was about 9:30. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's curfew kicking in at 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he doesn't give a little speech or anything like that. He just starts walking, and everybody is following him, kind of like the joggers that used to follow Forrest Gump.
I'll be honest, nobody even knew really what was going on until somebody kind of loudly said, "Hey, that's the mayor." And he was already arm in arm with them girls walking. Like he didn't say nothing. He just kind of showed up, jumped in, and started walking.
Okay, all right. But there were reporters there and a number of protesters. How many people do you think there were there?
I would guess, man, it looked probably between maybe 200 people, probably about 150, 200 people at that particular time. So,
so he's headed down Capitol Avenue towards downtown at this point.
Yes, sir. Right on Capitol downtown. And, I fully expected at any time for him to turn left towards maybe City Hall or maybe the courthouse or something, because he's doing a march exactly reminiscent. I mean, he's even wearing the same clothes, like reminiscent of MLK. So I assumed you were going to march to somewhere historic and then give a speech. That's what everybody assumed. I assumed. So, but we just kept marching. He just never stopped. He just kept going to the point where I was like barely able to keep going because I've been running backwards, thinking we're going to turn and stop sometime. And this went all the way down.
Because you're videotaping him basically walking backwards in front of him, trying to catch the whole thing.
Actually running backwards because they were marching really fast. And about 10 minutes into the march, they realized how fast they were going and slowed down a little for the reporters, but that was it. Yeah, we were going real fast. I was going backwards the whole time, yeah.
That doesn't sound like much fun, walking backwards like that. That's crazy.
Man, it was not. Let me tell you, I woke up this morning, I felt like I've been run over by a truck.
Wow. Okay, so how far was it an uneventful march? Did anything happen during the march? Because all the media reports I'm seeing say that it was relatively peaceful until the march ended. So how did that all
I'll tell you
play out?
The truth. I'd even talked to a couple police officers that night because that police actually were mingling with the crowd for the first time, something they haven't done. And you could palpable it was different. You know what I mean? It was more calm.
Yeah, sure.
People were more into it because the police were there and talking with them, and they were excited about that.
Wonderful.
And so when we marched, it was a happy march. Plus, everyone knows, if you know me, you know my politics. I'm not a big fan of the mayor at all. But, when I'm down there, I'm a camera. I'm just looking at what's going on. And it even inspired me for a second, seeing them coming down like that, him arm in arm. It was powerful. I expected us to go somewhere historic and him give a great speech, then it'd be done, we go home. Not quite how it turned out. We marched down Capitol and kept marching all the way downtown. And I looked for the name of the street I was on. I couldn't find a street sign, but I can tell you it was downtown where the parking decks are by the banking district. So it was past Broadway, like by Main Street. We were like one street up from Main Street is how far down we walked.
Okay.
And at this point, everyone's like, what? Were we going to stop? And so he finally stopped.
Because, eventually you're going to run out of real estate.
You would think, exactly. We're going to eventually hit something or we're going to have to do something. Right. So he eventually stops, and that's the first time he literally said anything. He grabs the bullhorn.
You got to stop before you get to I-30. Obviously.
we were just a few streets away from that, man, to be honest with you.
Good
and nowhere historic as far as I know. I don't remember the Bank of Ozarks or parking deck being historic, but maybe I'm wrong.
All right. Now what I want to do here is I've got to run to a break, but what I want to do when we come back from the break is perhaps you can tell us what happens when, like 10 blocks after the mayor leads a march from the Capitol, what he says and the response from the folks that have been marching with him. We're talking to Jeremiah Stark, independent videographer, as the Doc Washburn Show continues. Little Rock's home for news, traffic, and weather. News Radio 102.9 KAR.
Now that the
News Radio 102.9 KRN, the Doc Washburn Show continues. Ring your sound off and talk back 501-433-0092. Watching the video from just moments ago, Mercedes McKay over at THV 11 with a bunch of white folks blocking traffic, I guess that is 3rd and Broadway, but holding up BLM signs. Okay, that's wonderful. Because you wouldn't want to arrest people for breaking the law. This is Little Rock, but anyway. On the News Radio 102.9 KRN Newsmaker line, independent videographer Jeremiah Stark, who last night videotaped Mayor Frank Scott Jr.'s entire march from the Capitol to like 10 blocks way downtown. So, if I understand correctly, it's about 10 o'clock, the time for the curfew to start, and Mayor Frank Scott Jr. finally addresses the crowd of maybe 150 people that have been marching with him. What happens then, sir?
Yes, sir. We finally stopped, and like I said, it was no place historic, but I figured, what the heck? I'm tired of walking. Let's hear the speech, And
sure.
So he grabs the bullhorn and he calls everybody in, and we.
Don't mind. Hey, girl, what you got for us? Yeah, we're going home tonight, go to sleep, wake up for another day. You got Mike Brown, man. He told Mike Brown, he coached them the whole Lakers. He coached them the LeBron Cavaliers. Hey, everybody.
Hey, we're not beefing about here now.
Love and peace. Peace and love.
Justice and peace.
We all going home tonight, okay? We're keeping everybody safe tonight. Hey, y'all, we didn't come here today.
No, a whole lot of people behind us, Mike.
We understand.
There's a whole lot of people behind us, Mike.
All right, we're going to keep going. But we want everybody, we're here to keep this safe. We want everybody to go home and sleep tonight. And wake up the next morning. It's all based on love. We all understand the pain.
I ain't come to peaceful protest.
Hey.
Well, we did. Hey. If you didn't come to peaceful protest,
Hey, hold on, we got it. We're straight. Everybody, we all here on one accord for love and peace.
Hey, Mike, we not mad at you.
All right, bro.
We mad at everybody
We
else.
understand, bro. We
Hey,
understand.
you see. Mike,
We
we
all,
mad at you.
we all understand the pain and suffering right now.
Hey, I came out here ready.
Hey, we listening to the pain and the suffering. I promise you.
They crazy.
We gonna continue to stay alive and move forward.
Thank you, my king.
We gonna stay alive and move forward. We can keep marching, but my goal is for everybody to go home to sleep tonight and wake up for another day. That's what the life of George Floyd would want. That's the life of Bradley Blackshire. That's the life of Bobby Moore Jr. That's the life of Eugene Ellison. They want us to stay alive so we can move forward together. We understand the pain, the heartache and pain right now.
We all together
We
right
understand.
now.
And we are. We're going to stay
Together right now.
We understand.
Let's
I
turn
understand.
that way.
We're going to keep, everybody. I understand. We're going to keep going. Straight. But what I'm trying to let everybody know,
That way.
everybody listen, we're going to keep going. But I'm trying to let everybody know, everybody here
the line. Because like I said, no one really knew what was going on. So by the time they realized Frank Scott's marching, half the people had just started mingling behind us because we were all walking. So it was a huge long, we had to wait for them to all to gather up. And once they did, he grabbed the bullhorn and he said, thank you all for coming out. We support what's going on, but we want to wake up tomorrow. So everybody go home that direction, and pointed the opposite direction of the Capitol. And literally that was about it.
Okay. But
Yeah.
but I'm thinking most of the people who marched with him from the Capitol, their cars are probably parked like back towards the Capitol, not towards I-30. So that would be confusing, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. It was 100%, including my own. The walk back was excruciating, to say the least. But yeah, it was we were all from the Capitol, So when we got downtown, naturally, he tells us to go home the opposite way of the Capitol. The first thing people were saying was, but I live that way, or my vehicle's that way. What do you mean go that way?
Yeah.
It didn't set well immediately. And I think, I'm a journalist the best I can be, so I try not to say what people think, but at the same time, I'm also a citizen that was there, and I 100% believe that his intentions were to come out, be a great leader and walk with the people down to and then kindly ask them to go home and that they were going to do it. I just don't think he understood that whenever they said, no, I'm going to continue walking, he literally went blank and didn't was like, what? Like, you're not going to do what I say? So I think his intentions was to be the great mayor, walk with his people, and then talk everybody into going home. Everybody's happy, he wins, and they win. And that is not at all how it went.
So to be an inspiration that, hey, after the mayor walked these people 10 blocks away from the Capitol, it became 10 p.m., curfew time, and everybody was going to be so inspired by him saying, okay, we want everybody to be safe and go home now, that they would be like, oh, right. Well, that was Frank Scott
100%.
that said that.
100%. Yeah. Yes, sir. And that is not at all quite how it turned out. Immediately, a guy stepped forward and says, Michael Brown told us to keep going, and
Michael Brown?
Yeah.
Wait, Michael Brown? From
That's what he
Ferguson
said.
all those years ago?
That's what he said, and they and I'll be dang if everybody didn't start following that guy. And at that point, Scott starts walking again, like he's going to be with the walk, but then they turn, and when they turn, everybody kind of stopped and kind of went to follow him. And at that point, you could see in his face he was upset. He was upset people weren't heeding his warning, and you could see his security guys kind of scurrying around, and then people start yelling, and cussing and saying, you're supposed to be leading us. You're supposed to be leading us. What are you walking away for? Because they realized he was trying to walk away. And at that point, I yelled to his security guy, I was like, man, get him the heck out of here. These guys are about to erupt.
Get him out of here, man.
And they called for
They're
the
getting
truck.
crazy.
And by the time the truck...
Wait.
Yes, sir.
You're telling the mayor's security guys you better get them out of here because these people are starting to erupt?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's all on the tape. I told them to get him out of here. And I don't even like the guy, and I'm like, get him out of here.
Yeah, but
because
you don't want to
these are
see
not
anything
happy-
happen to him.
Exactly.
Whether
He's
you
an
like
elected
him or
official,
not.
He's a human being.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
on now! What the hell? Come on!
So,
what the hell?
people start throwing things at him?
Once they saw the car pull up sideways and security kind of grabbed him, they realized he's running, and that made him even madder because he's like running away from them, and that made him. That just set it off. At that point, water bottles, fireworks, all. I mean, it looked like the movie 300 when they shot the arrows at him. Man, it was just everything from everywhere raining down. At that point,
Good grief.
Yeah, at that point, he had one security guy was in the truck pulling him in. Another one was trying to push him in. And I think he wasn't sure really what was going on because they were like pushing him. And another security guy was behind him trying to push them both in. And at that point, I jumped in between, the bottles coming and the mayor. I guess just instinct, he's an elected official. I don't want to see nobody hurt. So I jumped in between them and was like, get him out of here, get him out of here. And they literally hit the gas and left two of their security guys there hanging off the side. And they didn't make it in the car. They shut the door and they took off and left two of the guys on the ground. Yeah.
All right. Now, at this point, though, police should start arresting people who are throwing things at the mayor of Little Rock, right?
You would assume, yes.
But that's not what happened?
No, sir. No, sir. That's not what happened at all. They
were there just not enough police there? Did they feel outnumbered, you think, or do we even have a stand down order on people who are trying to get violent with the mayor?
That might have. I honestly think that might have been the confusion, is they were following his order.
Oh, man,
and,
man.
Who knows?
Look, I just want to go on record here. I just want to go on record here. I believe that if somebody throws something at the mayor of Little Rock, Frank Scott Jr., a guy who I can't think of any particular issue I would agree with him on, I think those people should be arrested. And have the book thrown at them, figuratively speaking.
Right.
You don't get to throw things at people, including the mayor of Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
That's insane. I mean, so at this point, after he hightails it out of there in his black Tahoe, then people start heading back towards the Capitol, right?
No, actually, they started following his vehicle.
But they can't run as fast as he can drive.
Not at all. Not at all. They weren't running. They were just turning down that street, because that's the direction he went, and he was leading them. I mean, they were looking to him to lead them, And even though he had left, that's still the direction he went, and people were like, I mean, what do you do now? Our leader just abandoned us, And so at that point, a bunch of people that were like, obviously the people that initially started all these protests, they are super nice, they are super peaceful, and I've actually seen them get into it with people that have been violent or active. So and they formed a line to protect the mayor and told everyone to please walk the other way. They told them to keep going down to Main, just to get them to keep going away from the mayor. And at that point, and I'll give another prop. Rochelle Turner is the only reporter besides the Arkansas Times guy and me that was down there in the dirt when it all went down. So all the other reporters, the Gazette guy got beat up by the Capitol, and all the other ones actually never left the Capitol. They just filmed people coming back.
And Rochelle Turner, which station is she?
16. Fox 16.
Okay,
I kept
Fox
calling
16.
her the Channel 4 lady, but she's Fox 16.
Well, they're both owned by the same people. Look, I got less than 2 minutes here. Did you see anybody breaking glass at the bank buildings or setting the Arkansas Pharmacy building on fire?
The bank building, I heard the break, and so it was done by the time I turned. And the Arkansas Pharmacy building, I didn't see it set, but I did see the three very young, shirtless white guys running from it once it was on fire.
Okay, did any police see these people?
I know that I think they did, because immediately they kind of pulled down to the street where the guys had ran across from and parked a state trooper there, and the next thing you know, there was like 3 drones all in the neighborhood. So I'm assuming they followed them drone-wise.
Yeah. It's insane. I got 30 seconds. Anything else you want to share with us before we got to run?
Yeah, I just want to say the police have not instigated anything. They are all reactionary to what's happened to them. and that 98% of the protesters are out there for good purposes. There's about a handful that aren't, and those are the ones usually left over at night, and that's what's causing the issues here. So a shout out to the police and the protesters for keeping it real, and thank you to Convention of States, who has given me the opportunity to be a videographer. So I think it's the one
There you go.
organization that can unite the country again. So.
All right, Jeremiah Stark, if you want to check his video from last night from the mayor's walk from the Capitol downtown, I shared it on my Facebook page. We appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you.
appreciate you, man.
Godspeed. Stay safe out there.